Lululemon says it had a good Christmas. The athletic wear retailer announced it expects its Q4 net revenue to come in at the high end of its guidance. Let's unpack with David Schwartz, senior equity analyst at Morningstar. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
So Lulu, a gainer today on the market. What led to this sort of rosier outlook for the company? Just good Christmas sales?
We weren't given a lot of details at all today in today's press release. It was really just a holiday sales update. There's still more than half a month left in the quarter, so we'll have to see how that goes. But Lululemon is having some meetings with investors this week at an investment conference and wanted to give an update. And the update was that the numbers were coming in at the high end of the guidance we were given back at the last earnings report, which realistically is not surprising at all because Lululemon, even in difficult periods, tends to outperform estimates and guidance. And in fact, the numbers this morning pretty much match up exactly with what I had forecast for the quarter. So, and I think that's probably the case for most analysts, that they were already at the high end of the guidance. We weren't given much detail, but I do believe that the Americas revenue is still going to be down in the quarter, and that's what's in my model. And so Lululemon still is not really doing very well, but that's not a surprise at this point because it's in a transition period. The company is selling some of its older merchandise to make room for newer stuff that's coming out in 2026 as the year goes along. And Lululemon is also right now going through a CEO change. Longtime CEO Calvin McDonald is leaving the company at the end of the month, and we do not know yet who will be his replacement. And so there's a lot of things going on at Lululemon, and right now the company is not performing at its best, but I still think that there's a lot of potential here, and I think the stock is undervalued. My fair value estimate is $295 per share. So I think that Lululemon is on the track of a turnaround, but it's still a ways away at this point.
Okay, you mentioned that they have not been doing as well in the North American market. Why is that? What has dragged them down here?
Lululemon's really been struggling the last couple years with competition from some newer competitors like Vuori and Alo Yoga, as well as others that are out there and have been out there for a long time that are really getting more into women's athleisure. And so the competition has affected Lululemon. There have also been some internal problems at the company. It lost its chief product designer about a year and a half ago. She left to run Vans. I think that hurt Lululemon. The company's had trouble at times getting the right merchandise in the stores. There have been issues with the colors of the products and even the sizes. There have been times when Lululemon sold out of certain sizes, and that really disappointed customers. And that's not normal for Lululemon, which historically has been a very strong operator. But we have seen some problems, especially in North America. But realistically, that was somewhat inevitable because at this point, Lululemon has stores in every major metropolitan area in the U.S. and Canada. And so there just aren't as many places anymore for Lululemon to grow domestically. So a lot of the growth is really going to come from the international markets, especially China, which is where Lululemon is really opening most of its stores right now. So I do think that the company has growth prospects in North America as it tries to build more of its men's business and also expand into categories like footwear. But right now it is kind of struggling in that market.
Okay, you mentioned the leadership race that would be underway. What kind of person do you think the company needs to move it ahead? I know that the Elliott firm wants a certain person in with a certain background, but who do you think they need?
Yeah, and so the candidate that Elliott seems to be pushing is a woman named Jane Nielsen, who was the CFO at Ralph Lauren and was very successful there. She would have the kind of background that Lululemon is looking for, someone with a strong background in the apparel market, someone with a background in retail, someone with international experience, because so much of the growth is going to come from outside of North America. And so, she would be one strong candidate, but there are others out there too. I think the Lululemon job is very attractive. and there's a lot of strong CEO candidates that would probably want the job because this is still a very strong retailer, generates huge cash flow. It's still the leader really in women's athleisure with a very strong brand name. Despite the recent problems, I don't think that Lululemon has lost its popularity. I think that their core customers are hoping to see more new stuff, and I think that's been probably the problem over the last couple of years is that there just hasn't been enough innovation in terms of product attractiveness, and I think that can be changed under new CEO, and there'll be a lot of interest in that job.
So you see the biggest challenge then as getting a merchandise out there that catches the attention, especially of North American consumers.
Yeah, I think so. I think what's been happening is that a lot of the core customers have been going to Lululemon stores and they've been seeing too much of the same thing. They've been seeing sort of the same products that Lululemon's been selling for years, but maybe just in different colors. Now, I think there is an interest in seeing some new merchandise. We did see this about 2 or 3 years ago when Lululemon really got stronger in accessories, and some of their products like crossbody bags were big sellers. And I think that's more of what their core customers are looking for. They're looking for something different, and that could be footwear, but it also could be apparel and accessories as well.
Okay, David Schwartz, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for sharing your time.